Sometimes I really wish I could grab my clients before they give up, drag them into the future, and show them how close they actually are to getting their partner back and having the relationship they've always dreamed of. And I get it. It can feel like no matter what you do, you're not making any progress. But that hopelessness can blind you to how easy your case actually is. So in this video, I'm going to do something special. We're going to walk through an excerpt from an actual coaching call. You'll see firsthand how focusing on the wrong things will have you running fast in the wrong direction like this client was. So let's read this out here. 1A doesn't commit. I want to move out. I can't deal with toxicity. I am getting so mindfucked with this hot and cold behavior. And how as soon as we got her to change her mindset, her partner chose to come back to her just 2 months later. And you can get the exact same results by making these 3 key mindset shifts, which will seem insanely obvious once I explain them to you. So we'll start by talking about trucks and bridges here and how some people struggle to tell the difference between the two. So imagine you got a bridge and a truck drives across this bridge and this bridge collapses. And so trying to fix the situation, you say, okay, well, the last thing that went over this bridge was like a big 16-wheeler, which is like the big freight truck. So your solution is, okay, let's make 16-wheelers lighter. And that should fix the problem. And so you have this rule, you make all the 16-wheelers lighter, and for a while, the bridge doesn't collapse again. So you think to yourself, wow, this solution really works. But with that example, you don't have to be Einstein to realize that the bridge will eventually collapse again. So because we know that focusing on fixing the truck was obviously not going to work, because this is really a bridge problem. It's not a truck problem. Now, this misattribution sounds super obvious in this example, but yet I see a lot of people making the same misattribution in their relationship, or worse. People often don't realize that they're making it and how ridiculous their misattribution really is. So keep that truck and bridge example in mind as we jump into this clip and see if you can spot where the client is seeing the truck problem and where the client is seeing a bridge problem. And just a heads up, confidentiality is very important to us. So we have disguised the client's voice and image in this clip.
Like, he's being hot and cold. So how do I decide about my life? Like, I'm swinging and making decision about my life based on his hot and cold. Like, and that's what's bothering me, not just him being hot and cold. What's bothering me is like, where do I put my money, on which bracket? Like, I'm ready to work it out. Like, you don't want to be with me? Sure, I can do what I need to do. You want to be with me? I'm ready to like make my life around yours. But that's somewhere I'm not able to find balance. And that's what's frustrating me more than him being hot and cold.
But did you have, so.
Like, this is the most ridiculous conversation I've ever had, right? It's like, you don't see the many different layers of campaigns that you need to have here, of understanding that you need to have here?
Honestly, no.
Okay. I mean,
like,
I don't know how to help, if I can be honest. You're again acting as if it's a give or take situation, right? It's like the conversation with you is like, hey, you either want to fucking be with me or you don't. You're going to tell me right now? If you don't tell me right now, then fuck that. I don't want to do it. It's like going to a business transaction going like, do you want to invest or no? Do you want to invest or no? You don't want to invest? Well, fuck you then. What kind of conversation is that? Where's the understanding in that? What is the connection in that? Where's the safety in that? You don't see how there's many layers of conversations you could be having here, like, hey, you're hot and cold. Tell me more about that. Let me understand that, right? I guess like where I'm coming from is that, I need to decide where to put my money right now. And so I think this should be the good idea. But what do you think here, right? Let's collaborate on this together. Let's work on this together. Oh, you don't want to go work on it together. Oh, let me understand that. Why don't you want to work on it together? Oh, why? Because I was a bitch in the past? Oh, okay. Let me try to understand that. I mean, there's so many ways the conversation can go, but it's not just about like, oh, I want to do A. Oh, you don't want to do A? Well, fuck you then. What kind of framework is that? What kind of attitude is that? It's such a simple problem, a basic problem of like your partner wanting to do X, you want to do Y, you guys don't agree on something. Well, guess what?
In my relationship, we don't agree on hundreds of things. But if every time we don't agree on something, I just go like, well, fuck you, Sam. Well, fuck you, Jeff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see it now. Like, yeah, and I see it now. How I create this dead end situation for my own self and for the other person and for both of us. So I see this. I see it now.
But the process, like Chris was saying, is the same. Okay, find the layers that are broken. Look at your bucket one principle to see, like, what should I be fucking doing right now? It's not that hard. And it is this hard, like you are completely clueless over like a basic problem. Don't expect reconciliation in your lifetime. Don't expect a good relationship in your lifetime. Because if every trauma, every difference, every disagreement leads to this kind of feeling, leads to this kind of conversation, it doesn't matter if it's with your 1A, 1B, C, D, every relationship is gonna go fucking down the drain. You gotta have a wake-up call here, man. You gotta wake up.
Now, did you notice how she was totally fixated on those external issues? On his hot and cold behavior, on his toxic actions, on his misunderstandings of her actions. These are all focusing on all what we call truck problems. And she's failing to see how she's actually, or they have actually never worked on making their bridge stronger. So here, right there, she keeps saying like, oh, the bridge is collapsing because the truck was too heavy. But actually, the bridge is collapsing because the bridge is fragile. So every time, for her case, these things come up. Whenever there's any issues that come up, she crumbles, they crumble. And we see this mistake all the time. And you're probably making the same mistake right now. And I see it in the comments all the freaking time, right? People saying, my partner is stonewalling me. Or the reason why we're breaking up is because she's got no contact. The reason why we can't reconcile is because my partner keeps blowing up at me. Or they don't believe my changes. Every one of those is what we call a truck problem. That is you blaming the fact that, hey, my bridge collapsed because this truck was too heavy. And to show you more differences here, people, for example, always say that the relationship breaks down because of maybe number one, communication issues. Number two could be differences that seem irreconcilable. Number three could be toxic behaviors bred about by the lack of safety in the first place that break down the relationship. But again, those are truck problems. The bridge is the lack of safety. Communication issues, for example, will only break down your marriage, can only lead to a divorce when you pair that with a lack of safety. Irreconcilable differences can only become big issues if and when you pair that with the lack of safety. Toxic behaviors only become big issues if you pair that with the lack of safety. The same thing as the truck example. A heavy truck cannot cause a bridge to fall down. The bridge can only break down if the truck is heavy, yes, which is a true thing, but also the bridge is also fragile. So if you still don't understand this, take all the issues that you think you have in your relationship. It could be money problems, it could be infidelity issues, whatever it is. But now you take those issues and you pair that with the safety to talk about these issues together, to understand each other on the issues, and have the process to align on the issues. Would those issues still be problems that cause your marriage to break down? Most likely not. Again, the question you should be asking is, how weak is my bridge? That each time a heavy car, an issue, a difference, or problems in a relationship can actually cause the bridge to collapse. And when the bridge collapses, you are going to misattribute this by saying, oh, my bridge is collapsing because of those issues, of those trucks, because my partner is doing this, my partner is saying that, the relationship is this, our difference is this. But again, at the end of the day, your bridge collapsed because your bridge is fragile. And so because of this misattribution, it puts people in a very negative cycle where you try to fix the truck problems. It obviously does not work. So you try even harder. It doesn't work again. And you get disheartened, or you get angry, or you react poorly, and you beg and you plead, and things just keep getting worse. So this is like you trying to fix the broken bridge by fixing trucks, and you keep fixing trucks and you realize nothing you do is working. And it also not only makes you feel helpless and confused and hopeless, but it also confirms your partner's worst fear, that you and the relationship probably has no future of working. Because regardless of what you try, if nothing works, that no one in this relationship knows how to make this work. So is it really a surprise? They're feeling hopeless, perhaps even blocking you, stonewalling you, blowing up at you. So what you should be asking is, what patterns of yours and what patterns in the relationship made it unsafe for you and your partner to talk about what matters most? And how can you change the way you think so that when your bridge collapses, the first instinct is not to blame it to truck problems or something that is a true but useless? How can you make the relationship less stronger and less fragile? Only then, when you stop trying to focus on truck problems and when you take responsibility to actually focus on fixing and recognizing that there is fragility in your bridge and to fixing that fragility on your bridge itself, only then can things actually start moving. Only then can your partner even start to consider the possibility that things could be better. So start by asking yourself, what is one way I can make my bridge stronger today? What is one way I can build safety today?
Guys, let's be honest, there's a lot of bad relationship advice out there. Advice that often sounds really great on the surface, but when a lot of my clients run to these programs and they follow these great sounding techniques, it actually makes things worse for them. And that is why I do what I do. And for the last 10 years, I've made it my mission to cut through the mountains of bullshit that is out there and show you how the real pros do it. And the first step, our free masterclass. This is where I'll show you the actual process that I've shown thousands of my clients to take them from very dire situations to where they are today, when mainstream advice and a lot of other coaches often have left them for dead. So if you're ready to stop screwing around in the kiddie pool and bullshit advice, click the link, watch the masterclass. At the end of the masterclass, if you want to apply for the program, I'll give you the instructions to do so.
So now that you've seen how easy it is to fall into that trap of misattribution, let's talk about why that happens and how you can shift your mindset so that every time your bridge collapses, your first instinct is to focus on the bridge and not the trucks. So the number one reason that people fall for truck problems is that they're too focused on the outcome of getting their partner back. And this outcome dependency blinds them to their mistakes they're making, which creates this feedback loop where they keep making more and more mistakes, which pushes their partners further and further away, which makes them even more mistakes. And it goes on like that indefinitely. And you can see actually this dynamic happening exactly with our client here.
I was down. So yeah, I was thinking and I fucked it up.
I understand that. And I appreciate that acknowledgement, right? I think that that's a good thing to have. But like at some point, right, like we can't make those mistakes anymore. Like we have to grow past those mistakes, right? Like I think that I could be wrong about your situation, but I seem to remember he was cold at one point. It wasn't even fucking hot cold. It was cold. So here's what I think happened.
He was
Tell me-
out.
Yeah, he was out. So tell me if I'm wrong, right? You can say, no, James, you don't have this right. But he was cold. He started to come back, warm up a little bit. He started to put his foot, tip his toes in the water a little bit. And then you got a little fucking lazy and you fell for finish line illusion and stop doing the work to grow and keep mastering the TTH so that you can spot all of these opportunities. Get into phase 2 so that you can finish building the bulletproof vest. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it was finish line.
Right.
Finish line, hope illusion. Yeah.
And guys, this is Geoffrey says this better than I do, so maybe he can say it afterwards once I fuck it up and butcher it. But like, a dumb person doesn't learn from their mistakes. A person who thinks they're intelligent learns from their mistakes. An actual intelligent person learns from the mistakes of others. So
Okay, let me correct that. Dumb people don't learn.
Orchard.
Dumb people who think they're smart need to make their own mistakes before learning from it. Life is too fucking short for you to learn from every mistake in history before you learn from it. Real smart people, they learn from other people's mistakes. And so I see some of the people in their chat, right? It's like, man, Jeff is really going tough today. And sometimes the people who are saying that are the people who need to feel the toughness sometimes.
And look, guys, my approach when you're watching this might seem very harsh, but I want you to think about how frustrated her wishy-washy approach was making me as the coach, and understand that her partner is almost definitely 1,000 times more frustrated with her behavior than I am. So my job with coaching is not to stroke you and make you feel good. My job with coaching is to wake you up, to help this client, for example, see how their faulty thinking is the very reason her partner is refusing to come back to her. To show her that as long as she fixates on getting that certain result, and as long as she keeps blaming her partner and truck problems for the issues, that nothing she does or says will ever feel genuine. And I'm also willing to bet that if you're watching this, you're guilty of the exact same thinking that is pushing your partner further and further away right now. And the only way to break that cycle, guys, is to do what we call untethering. You see, right now, you and your partner are extremely tethered. Most of us are because we've evolved that way. So think of it like being on a leash. Your mood, your actions, even your self-worth swing up and down depending on whether you're getting what you want, like attention, like affection, a reply, or a sign that there is hope for reconciliation. And when you're tethered, when you're outcome focused like this, your behaviors often come across as very needy, even if you think you have the right script. Because whatever you say here is driven by fear, not growth. For one of my clients, for example, their case started like this, right? So the husband has anger issues because his wife doesn't listen. And the wife doesn't listen because the husband has anger issues. And to make matters worse here, the husband refuses to work on his anger issues because he's waiting for the wife working on her listening issues, and until he feels hope that this can actually lead somewhere. And the wife also refuses to work on her listening issues until the husband works on his anger issues, or until she can also feel hope that this can lead to something. So you see, they're both either extremely tethered to the outcome or the hope of an outcome, or they're tethered to each other. So they've been just stuck focusing on truck problems for the last 40 years and never once even thought to work on their bridge. It just took one person. One person joined the program for them, and that one person started a feedback loop cycle where that one person focused on fixing the bridge. Once the bridge is fixed, everything else is fixed. But I don't have time to go into all of it now, and I could spend hours unpacking untethering for you guys. But let me give you a simple overview on the steps to becoming untethered. So number one, you need to learn how to shift your focus from outcomes into process. So untethering is not what people think, which is like not caring. That is what we call indifference. Untethering is when you are shifting your focus away from obsessing about outcomes and each other, other people, and into the process of becoming who you want to become. So it's changing it from do because you want to have to do because you are. Number two, identify what we call the disguises of desire. These are the mental traps that keeps you attached without realizing it. And number three, start your daily practice process. So tools like visualization and auto-suggestions, which is a process that we teach you that rewire your mindset at a subconscious level. If you guys don't understand these terms, we have a full internal shift series that breaks this down much more in depth. And it's something we teach extensively in the program. But if you're just getting started, those are the basics you need to know. But I cannot stress it enough. If you don't untether from the outcome, you'll keep focusing on truck problems. You can't help it. You'll keep throwing away opportunity after opportunity to plant seeds of safety and trust with your partner. Just like this client was doing, until we helped her see the mistakes. And now for this client, they're working on reconciling because she finally started focusing on what she could control. She stopped blaming the truck problems and she focused on becoming the kind of partner someone wants to come home to, the kind of bridge that is anti-fragile, the kind of bridge that is solid. And so like what we always say, all right, you can't change people's behavior. Yes, that is true. But what you can do is you can change the culture that eventually changes people's behavior. And that, changing the culture of your relationship, is something that you're totally having control of. So let me show you what exactly those opportunities to change the culture looks like and how to start capitalizing on those. So the first thing you need to understand about this is that you need to learn how to shift your perspective on resistance. So resistance, again, is when your partner misinterprets your words, your actions, or behavior. And resistance, guys, even though it feels personal, it's not personal. It's actually a natural defensive mechanism rooted in a lot of confirmation bias, where their brain, for example, looks for evidence to support what they already believe. So your partner right now, because of the bad history, is filtering everything you do through that negative lens because their brain is trying to protect them from more pain. So you'll see here how our client was so blinded by her faulty thinking and her allergy to resistance, that we call it, that she was taking her husband's resistance and tough truth as an indication to be certain that nothing was working, that she couldn't see the truth that these tough truth was not a sign that nothing was working. That is the opportunity to make it work. She couldn't see the truth that she had missed countless moments to build safety, trust, and a team dynamic with her partner.
Right now, you feeling like you want to get the fuck out of here whenever your partner is showing a little bit of toxic behavior, a little bit of honesty, is why the fuck he wanted to divorce you in the first place.
I do get that part. I mean, I do get that part. But where I'm lost is, until now, when I was seeing all the resistance, I could understand why I was getting resistance. Like, it's a self-preservation more or less from his side, and I could empathize on all those parts. But like now I'm like, okay, now you want to be with me. What am I supposed to do now? So you want, like, you want to have all the good moments, you want to have everything, and we are having good time, everything's normal. And then when it comes to moving on ahead in life, he just gets cold, and I'm like, what do I do? Like you want it, you don't want it.
Like, what if your assumption is wrong? What if your assumption of his behavior is wrong? What if your assumption of why he's doing that is wrong?
I'm sure that, I mean, I'm sure about that. That's definitely a
And
possibility.
if you're sure that is wrong, then why the fuck are you jerking it off? I'm sorry to say, enough of this shit. Like, enough of this pattern, right? Do you want to actually create a good relationship or no? If you know, right? Hey, I am angry at my partner because I am making a bunch of assumptions about why he's doing something, about the fact that he's trying to eat the cake and have it too. And then you have another thought that says, hey, I could be wrong about that fucking assumption that's making me angry. Then fix that fucking assumption. Don't just go like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I can't help but feel this way. What are you doing? If you know that the assumptions you're making that's making you upset could be wrong, then fix that. Have a fucking conversation about that.
So see how she was interpreting her partner's resistance as rejection instead of seeing what it actually was, which was the opportunity that she's looking for the whole time to actually show her changes, to actually change the culture. And it's just there for her, waiting to be responded with her groundedness, her emotional leadership. But again, because her mindset was obsessing about the wrong things and over the wrong tethered outcomes, she could not recognize those moments even though they were staring her right in the freaking face. And it wasn't until we talk her through those interactions, frame by frame, line by line, that she finally saw it. And that's what happens when your mind is locked into the wrong paradigm, locked into being tethered. You become very blind to the opportunities you've been actually looking for this whole time. But again, for most people, because they cannot spot and seize these dips, just like with that client, right? She was in a dip, but she couldn't even see it. She saw the dip as a threat that caused her to go through what we call post-traumatic stress. It goes even further down. And for most people, they cannot spot and seize these opportunities when a low moment comes. And it causes them to go even lower, like that client. But if you learn to spot and seize these opportunities, these low moments can actually become the massive opportunities to go even higher than ever before. And so for your relationship, you're gonna get a lot of highs, also a few lows. Can you spot and seize these lows? If you can spot it, you will grow even higher than before. If you cannot spot it, you'll go lower than even before. So am I saying that the high periods here don't count? I'm not saying that, right? You still need to do the correct things during the high periods, but it is especially more important that you do the correct things. You don't just spot and seize moments during the dips. So the trick again is, number one, can you spot these opportunities? Or are you too tethered? Are you too blinded by truck problems to even spot it? And once you spot it, number two, can you seize these moments? Or are you too what we call allergic to resistance? So let's bring this all together. You saw how our client kept focusing on all the truck problems. And you saw how her obsession with the outcome was feeding that truck problem trap. And it locked her in this loop where her perspective created mistakes, which then triggered more resistance, which she could not interpret correctly. And the cycle just kept on spiraling. And so she kept throwing away opportunities to show her changes, build emotional safety, and lean into resistance. And here's the fucking wild part. If we had not stepped in, she would not have realized she was literally just 2 months away and a few more dips away from her partner choosing to come back. She was actually ready to walk away, certain that nothing she could do could actually work. Nothing she did mattered. But Now she realizes she was so fucking wrong. And if you're watching this, there's a very real chance that you're about to make the same mistake. You might be just a few dips away from a major breakthrough. So make sure you watch the next video where I'll show you exactly how to start untethering from the outcome so you can actually rewire your thinking, reprogram your internal world, stop focusing on the truck problems, and finally become the version of yourself that your partner chooses to come back to.